smaller scale have had a major impact on our society and on our economy. This has impacted very negatively to our economic recovery trajectory. And really, as emphasized by the president, no matter how upset you might be about one or the other, the destruction of infrastructure that belongs to all of us is really unacceptable. And for example, the current estimated costs of damage to property and infrastructure in eThekwini is around 15 billion rand. Now, this is a 15 billion rand that would normally not have to be repaired, but should have been used for better economic performance. But this destruction in eThekwini of 15 billion rand is very significant. There was destruction of shops, shopping malls, network towers, post offices, factories, roads, freight trains, and so on. All of these destruction does not add to positive value for our society. And once again, I would like to join the president in condemning these acts of violence, of destruction that we have seen in KwaZulu-Natal and Gauteng. Now, the impact of all of this is that we have to do something. We can't sit back, cry, and be sad about it, but we must do something about this. So firstly, those businesses which are insured, we are fortunate enough in South Africa that we have the South African Special Risks Insurance Association, SASRIA. So SASRIA has commenced and will commence with the payment of insurance claims immediately in order to assist those businesses to come back to life. SASRIA is a very special mechanism which was developed, unfortunately, but now we're benefiting from it, during the apartheid period to cover for riots, destruction of property, and so on. Of course, at the launch of our democracy, we did not really anticipate that we'll have riots and destruction of property and so on, because we're a democracy, and therefore we're supposed to resolve our differences peacefully in discussions, debates, and so on. But unfortunately, we found ourselves in this position today, and therefore SASRIA is going to become very handy in assisting us to come out of this difficult situation. Now, the president made announcements which I now have to buttress. Firstly, the temporary extension of the social relief of distress grant of 350 rand. This is now going to be extended up to the end of the financial year. That means March 2022. And really, this is meant to react, to respond to the dire situation in which most of our people find themselves. If you drive around the country or walk around the country, you are bound to notice the extreme poverty in which our people live. And therefore, this 350 rand, no matter how small it might be, but it goes a long way to assisting our people. And this will cost about 27 billion rand, which we have to find in the system. And Dr. Mampo Mudise might talk about this later. But, looking after our own is not just a cost, but it's an investment that we should see going forward. As I mentioned, SASRIA is already coming to the party, and together with other insurance companies, are speeding up the assessment process, the damage assessment process, so that they can be able to assist our companies to come back to life. And we anticipate that this will cost maybe 15 to 20 billion rand, which between SASRIA and the National Treasury will have to make sure that these are met. In addition, as you're aware, the president has instructed and ordered the police and the South African National Defence Force to assist in bringing about peace and stability in our country, which is so important. And to that extent, we're allocating additional amounts for the police, some 250 million rand for the police and 700 million rand for the South African National Defence Force, for them to be able to perform and execute this task, which has been given to them by the President of the Republic. But may I hasten to add that at the end of the day, it is not about the police. It is not about the defense force. It's about us in our communities to ensure that peace and stability returns to our communities. It is us who know who are the looters. It is us who know who destroyed the ATM, who destroyed the branches of banks, which makes it difficult for cash to flow in KwaZulu-Natal in particular. It's us in the community who must take responsibility for the safety and security of our assets. The Unemployment Insurance Fund, which is again another very important South African institution, will come to the party in the form of the temporary relief called TERS. And in this regard, the Minister of Employment and Labor will make further announcements. But the National Treasury, the Ministry of Finance, and the Department of Labor and the UIF stand together to assist our people as far as we can. Now, you know, South Africa is a constitutional democracy. It is a law-governed society. There are procedures and processes which have to be followed when money is being appropriated for one purpose or the other. And the Minister of Finance is the official that is charged with the responsibility in terms of the Money Bills Act to pronounce on budgets and financial matters. To that extent, we have to approach Parliament as well in one form or the other in order for these appropriations to be fairly and fully within the legal system. Fortunately, as I said, we're a democracy and we have the ability to proceed as required in these difficult times. And then finally, there's a matter which seems to be stuck somewhere in the system. It's a matter which has to do with making an allowance for workers to have access to a percentage of their retirement funds in these times of difficulty. It's a matter that has been discussed at NEDLEC ad nauseum, and I am now determined more than ever before to ensure that the officials in the National Treasury and other relevant officials speed up this matter. A portion of their retirement fund workers should be able to access in these difficult times, maybe to finish off their bond repayments, maybe to sort out whatever debt positions they might be in. But I must warn at the same time that people must ensure that they use this facility for purposes of relief and also making better their own situation. Having said all of that, I now hand over back to you, Mashudu, and the Director General of the National Treasury will then direct whichever official might wish to say something. And Dr. Masondo is also on the line if he wants to say something. But In terms of the arrangements that we've made, Mashudu, I think I hand over to you, and maybe you hand over to DG Dondo Mukhajan. Thank you very much indeed, and thanks for joining us this afternoon.